Hey everyone, so excited. This is the True Life with Tom show, episode number 4, with one of my favorite people and human beings on earth. I call him Big Jim McClain. He is a highly educated, energetic, enthusiastic lover of life and humanity. And he just also happens to be a real estate agent and real estate investor. So we're going to talk about entrepreneurship. We're going to talk about life and business. But without any further ado, Jim, tell me a little bit about you, buddy, and welcome.
Hey, Tom, thank you. I really appreciate you having me. It's an honor. A little bit about me, a little bit of background. Got into real estate in 1980. Interest rates were 16 to 22%. And I did things differently. The old model was call, but nobody was buying new financing because the rates were so high. So I basically dug in and did some creative financing back in the 80s where I would get the seller to get most of their equity out because they were have to moves. People that didn't have to move didn't move, but the have to moves had to do something to where they would get 90% equity out of their property back then,
Hmm.
and then they would hold a small third. So, and we put in the contracts that the buyers had to refinance the house within 3 years at whatever market rates there were.
Wow.
Well, the rate dropped down to 11, so everybody was ecstatic. I was fortunate enough to help 55 families that first year, and I'm proud to say that out of those 55 homes, none of them ended up going to foreclosure. The buyers came through on their promise, did what they were supposed to do, and went ahead and refinanced the property. So that was a starting point for me,
Hmm.
looking at everything that I do in, as you say, entrepreneurial, but also a very broad range of how can we make this work if the pattern or the mold doesn't make it happen. So you have to
Right,
do things differently. And
right.
again, like I say, I've been in it for 45 years.
Well, I just wanted to speak to that, and that's really, I think, one of the reasons that I consider you a friend, and we met in person just over a year ago,
Yeah.
and one of the things that I love about your energy and how you interact with humanity and people in general is you have a giving heart and you believe in adding value, but at the same time, making sure that everyone is taken care of. So we all have no issue helping other people, and many of us help other people without expectation. But in business, hey, I'm here to help you. Let's collaborate. A collaboration is where we come together on the same plan and path,
Right. Yeah.
right? So take me back to little Jim up to today. What are some of the things that have kind of molded you into this? Um, I'm going to say very loving, large human being. You're a teddy bear. I mean, what made you into Big Jim other than God and you know food?
Well, I think for me, it started again, as you said, it started in youth. I was born what they consider a blue baby, which means I was not breathing. I was brought back to life. My biological father, and I was born in Linz, Austria, to a U.S. serviceman and my mother.
Okay.
And he basically abandoned us, left us in Austria. My mother met the man who I consider my father. He brought us back to the United States with him. So I grew up in Alexandria, outside of Alexandria.
Mm.
Uh, but as you know, kids can be cruel. So I was the only person in my family with the last name McClain. Everybody else's last name was Ennis. So I got all the ribbing. They don't love you enough to change your name. You're not really part of that family, yada, yada, yada. So it gave me a hole that I felt I needed to fill. And for years, I thought about my real dad. Why did he do this? Why, whatever. And, but it gave me a hard resolve, and it made me actually make fun of myself to sort of offset the pain that I felt I
Mhm.
was going through. And the more and more I grew, it just it sort of evolved into that. I took on a different personality, and I think we all do. We all have different personalities.
Mhm.
So when we're doing certain things in life, we need to take on a different persona.
Right.
Um, Mine just happened to be that, you know what, I'm not going to be that person that belittles someone else, no matter how big you are, no matter how successful you get. You should always have empathy for the other person because you don't know what their struggles are. So that's what
Exactly.
I did. I took it on that. I was like, let me make people laugh. So
Mhm.
that I felt was my gift. I could make people laugh pretty easily.
Mhm.
And it just grew from there. And when I was 47, I met my real dad.
Right.
And
How tell me about that. What was
that
that? What
it
was that
went
like?
well. It went well. The first time I called, I got hung up on because his understanding, or that's what I was told, his understanding was that I died at birth, and he had been sent back to the States. And back then in the military, you didn't get emergency leave for certain things. So they
Right.
wouldn't send him back. But, it worked out well. Again, I had a very loving, who I considered my father and my mother, and they raised me, I feel, the right way to work hard. I grew up
Mhm.
on a little 10-acre farm. So everything we did, and my grandfather was not a forward thinking person. He didn't like machinery. So everything we did growing up was with horses, with pitchforks, by hand. We would dig up after he dug the rows. We would pick the potatoes out of the ground, put them in bushel baskets. We hauled hay in a hay wagon up and down Telegraph Road. So yeah, I did all those things growing up. So my grandfather gave me the work ethic.
Right.
And you didn't stop working. His whole mentality was we stop at lunch, we eat for 45 minutes, we relax, then we go back to work and we work till 4:30. So those are the things that I learned from him, that you have to finish the job.
Right.
You don't. There's no excuses. And people today use the analogy of 0-100, zero excuses, 100% accountability.
Right.
And to validate that, you just have to look in the mirror.
Hmm.
Look in the mirror because only. Go ahead.
Well, I just wanted to go back to something you said earlier. Uh, and I had my friend Sarah Weber on a previous episode, and she talked about the exact same thing: is not taking yourself seriously, making fun of yourself, because what it does, it provides an extra layer of protection for your heart,
Mm-hmm.
because you're playful about your challenges or your last name or
Yeah.
whatever it is. You're playful about it so it doesn't consume you.
Yeah.
Because I heard something just a couple of days ago. Your mind is a tool for living. It's either going to serve you well or it's going to harm you. And the thing is, and then we talk about this a lot, and so some other people in our circle as well, is energy is everything.
Yes.
So you went through those things, you faced a lot of those things with humor, and then you came out the other side in I don't know, a happy, grateful person, right?
Absolutely.
And then you met Dad. Do you still speak with him from time to
He
time?
passed away
Okay,
many years ago, but
many
yeah, I
years
mean,
ago.
I didn't meet him till I was 47 years old.
Okay, right.
So I had a ongoing relationship with him for about 4 or 5 years,
Okay.
and after that, he passed away. So I do have some half siblings
Mm-hmm.
that I will talk with every once in a while.
Mm-hmm.
Again, it's sort of like, okay, we found you or you found us, we met you, but we live out in Illinois, you live in Virginia.
Right.
We can talk every once in a while, but it's lukewarm, and that's
I
okay with me.
understand. Yeah,
I had
because you're
the closure.
acquaintances. I get
I
it.
had the closure that I needed.
Good.
That okay,
Good.
why did you do this? And his
Right.
reply was something different than what I had been told.
Right.
But again, you have to learn to forgive to be able to heal in any aspect that you do.
Sure. Can I
And
share something with you?
Yes, sir.
Forgiveness, first of all, is for your peace of mind, not
Yes.
theirs. Number
Yes.
one. And then number two, I like to share this. I may have mentioned this on a previous episode, but my favorite Mark Twain saying, quote, forgiveness is the fragrance the violet sheds on the heel that crushes it.
I like that.
It's
Yep.
it's heavy. It's
It is
heavy.
very
But
intense. Yep.
but bottom line is that forgiveness, you step on the violet. The metaphor is simple. You step on the violet, you've crushed it.
Yeah.
And as you step off, your foot smells like the fragrance of violet, and that's forgiveness.
Yeah.
Is that even though you've crushed me, I'm still going to give you a gift of forgiveness,
I
right?
agreed.
So 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 there's probably factors with his leaving Austria and whatever. I want to tell you, I've been to Vienna, Austria, so I love that country. How long did you live in Austria?
Till I was 3.
Okay, gotcha.
And
Do you
then
remember
my
anything about it at all?
no, not really.
Okay, and then you came
I would
right
just
back to Virginia.
well, we came we came to Virginia, but we came through Italy, and
Okay,
then from Italy we came to the United States. So yeah, and
okay,
I've been here. I've been, I feel I was definitely raised in Virginia. So
sure.
and then the only time I left was when I was in the military.
Right, right. What do you love most about um, being an entrepreneur and working for yourself? What do you love most about it?
Freedom.
Okay.
And again, it's no matter what you do in this kind of business, to me, because that's why I got into real estate. I felt I wasn't treated very well when I bought my first house at 23.
Hmm.
So I felt once I got hurt on my regular job, people had told me, with your personality, you ought to do something, yada, yada, yada. And I said, okay, well, let me do real estate because I will never allow anyone that I work with to go through what I went through.
Hmm.
Literally, I was on an island by myself. So my whole process is, and I taught classes for the real estate board down here in Fredericksburg, the FAAR years ago.
Hmm.
And people say, why are you giving up all your secrets? Why are you doing this? And I said, there are no secrets. It's just the fact that I would like to have other agents raise their level of awareness that it's not about us, it's about our clients. And you
Hmm.
put your clients first, the money will follow. If you put yourself first, then you will struggle your whole real estate career. So
Right.
that's the mindset that I've had from day one. And it's the same thing with entrepreneurship. When I go to see somebody, and I know you do the same, when I go to see somebody that might be in a pre-foreclosure or falling behind on their mortgages and whatever, it's finding a solution for them first, giving them options that, you maybe we can talk to the bank about a loan modification. If not, maybe we can do a regular sale if if you got plenty of equity. If you don't have any equity and you're upside down, maybe we can talk to the bank about doing a short sale.
Hmm.
And then last but not least, if that won't work, let's look at another avenue that maybe I can help you. I can help you avoid potential foreclosure, which of course is going to affect you for the next 7 years minimum.
Right. Right.
So it's just doing that. It's the mindset, and you have the same mindset. It's being a servant,
Right.
being a servant to the people that you talk to. So I talk to anybody. I don't care if you are minimal wage. To me, you're a king or a queen. End of
Right.
discussion. You have to give people that mindset that someone is listening to me. Because that's all I wanted growing up. I wanted someone to listen to me and hear me, that I wasn't an outcast. I wasn't an afterthought. And those type of things you have to deal with within your life. And
Hmm.
why not
Hmm.
do it the right way?
Right. Well, and one of the things too, I have come to learn about you is your energy shows up in the room before your mouth does. And most people don't
Thank you.
understand what that means, right? It's a true statement. We as human beings, we emit energy. Our energy field can go out as far as 10 feet. So when you hear the term that Jim can light up a room, that's because as you walk in, the room is literally impacted by your energy.
I appreciate
And
it.
and so what I wanted to find out from you is, what are some of the success habits you've made to make yourself a loving friend or a reliable realtor, a great husband? What are some of those things that have kind of just elevated you to carry this love with you all the time? What were some of those contributing factors to that?
Again, I think being raised by loving parents, um, making sure that when someone did wrong by me, that I didn't carry that with me to the next person. It has to be that forgive them for having a bad day. They may not be angry with you. They may not have anything against you, but because they're having an internal struggle, they project it out to other people. And I choose not to do that. I choose to make sure that when I meet someone, it's with a smile. And I have a lot of people that will talk to me just because I smiled. And they'll
Mm-hmm.
go, "Hey, have a great day." And I'm like, "You have a fantastic day."
Right.
But just talking to them. So that was critical to me. And again, because when I bought my first house, the agent just disappeared, literally disappeared. And 60 days later, I'm sitting at the table. I'd done all the work. I had to go back to the VA to get a new certificate of eligibility because the lender that he connected me with lost my paperwork. I don't know how you do that, but they lost it. So I had to go get my VA certificate of eligibility, went through the whole process, sat at the settlement table, and 60 days later, he comes walking in the door. And my question was, "What are you doing here?" And he goes, "I'm here to get paid." And that has resonated with me so deeply to my core because that's not my belief. My belief is whatever we do as entrepreneurs or agents, we are in a results driven industry.
Mm-hmm.
And when you provide results that are above and beyond what you are supposed to do, as the old adage says, is under promise and over deliver.
Right.
So when you do that, and you take whoever you're working with, whether it's someone that you're buying a property from as an investor, or it's helping someone sell their property or buy a property, it's A to Z. It's a process. It's not an event. So you need to be made aware of every process that goes on with the buying and selling of a home or a house and make sure that everybody internalizes it so they know that if something comes up, I got this. I've been here. I've been here 45 years. I've seen a lot of different things go on in the real estate industry. I'll find a solution. We don't have problems. We may have an issue,
Right.
but it's not an issue we can't overcome and find a solution for. And that gives the people that you work with, and same with you, Tom, that's the people you work with. It gives them that sense of calm instead of being stressed out because they say point blank, even buying and selling a home is probably the third most stressful thing in life.
Right.
Death, taxes, buying and selling a home, period.
Is it marriage in there? No,
It's
I'm kidding.
stressful.
I'm kidding.
No, that's okay.
um, um, no, that's supposed to be fun. Marriage is fun. Who am I kidding? But I love how you think and how you operate as a person. Being in the real estate business, obviously people are going to be fortunate to have someone that takes care of them, quite the way you do. When you talk to younger people or your peers about philosophy, what are some of the like key books or people beyond your parents that have helped mold you into what I would say is a pretty complete package of love, light, and intellect?
People and books.
Yeah. Like, what are some of the things that have sharpened your saw along the way? It's a better
Okay.
question.
I would say mentors that I felt were really about helping you grow, and that would be in business, and then
Hmm.
in personal. I enjoy different people in as far as personal life. Tony Robbins, Mel Robbins, Joe Dispenza. You know those. All those people, they everything you do has a nugget, and I think that for the younger generation who don't have, and you have to have a goal, you have to have an end product, and then work your way backwards.
Right.
So if you're 23 years old and you're like, I don't know where I'm going, then okay, do yourself a vision board, do
Hmm.
yourself a 10 years from now, I am a millionaire, or I make $300,000 a year. You may only be making $20,000 a year now because you're working at McDonald's or whatever. But by seeing that end result, then now all of a sudden you can work backwards. What do I need to do to get to this point? And to do that, you have to break it up into piecemeal. None of us
Right.
gets where we're going to get overnight. It
Hmm.
doesn't happen unless you hit the lottery.
Right.
So if you have a plan and you follow that plan and you look in the mirror every day, and you know the old adage, fake it till you make it.
Right.
Look in the mirror every day, smile, and say, I am the best of the best, better than all the rest. You can't stop me because I am the only one that can stop me. And I refuse to quit. I coached youth football for a lot of years, and my son helped me. And our whole process was we had t-shirts that we made up for the kids. Refuse to lose. On the back of another year, it was want some, come get some. And I would make our kids walk around the field in front of the other team with these t-shirts on so these kids could see who they were up against. And I would tell these kids all the time, I said, look, it's not where you start, it's where you end. He
Right.
may be bigger, he may be faster, but if he thinks he's going to skate by, then he's already at his top potential. It's a learning process. Just keep learning, keep growing. And at the end, you're going to be sitting there sipping Mai Tais, and I don't even drink, but sipping Mai Tais on a beach somewhere
Hmm.
while they're sitting there working their 9 to 5. And there's nothing wrong with working a 9 to 5, but is that truly where your heart is? Is that truly where your passion is? You need to do in life what your passion drives you to do. And if you don't have it now, then sit down and reflect with yourself. You do that all the time, Tom. Sit down and reflect with yourself. Sit there and have some downtime that it's just you, and talk to yourself. You're
Hmm.
not crazy when you talk to yourself.
Right.
It's just talk to yourself in a positive manner. Give yourself those positive affirmations to where you can actually say, you know what? That one didn't work, but I know why now. I learned from it.
Right.
And now I've got to pivot a little bit because you can't take an airplane. You've heard this too. You can't take an airplane from Washington, D.C. to Los Angeles in a straight line.
Right.
They
It's
have
not.
to adjust the plane for altitude, for weather, for wind, for whatever. That's
Hmm.
what life's about. Life is about pivoting and making adjustments. And as long as you make those adjustments and don't quit, you can't help but get to your final destination. Somebody said something, and you know this too, I think, Tom. I saw a thing on YouTube once, and it was one of the motivational speakers, and I had never thought about this. Took a tape measure, and he went from 0 to what's the average lifespan of a human today? 80?
Hmm.
So he took this tape measure and he said, okay, the first 22 years of your life, you are under someone else's wing, more than likely. You're in school, you're in college, gone, you're done. Now you got from 23 to 80. You don't want to work till you're 80. So now if you want to retire at 50 or 55, now all of a sudden, let's say you retire at 60. So you net effectively have this small window, and it doesn't sound small, but it is. In the scheme of things, you have potentially 35 to 40 years to attain everything you want to attain, to be able to do the things you want to do for the rest of your life that most people will never be able to do because they didn't have the goals, they didn't have the direction, they didn't have the plan, and most importantly, they didn't have persistence.
Right. And consistency.
And
Yeah.
consistency, consistent
Right.
persistence. That's a good little analogy,
Right.
consistent persistence. Because if you don't stop, you can't lose. What if
Yeah.
I say I want to be worth $70 million when I'm X amount of age and I only make it to 50 million? Did I fail?
Mm-mm.
No, hell no.
Right.
Because if I wouldn't have had that goal to go towards, I could have ended up with $100,000.
Right.
So
Now,
those are all things that, you learn. And those are things that those books help a lot. Think and Grow Rich. Uh, you know, Get Out of Your Own Way, right?
right.
The books like that.
Yeah.
And again, listening to some of the motivational speakers, and you and I have had conversations, more, not as many as I would like to have, and we will in the future, but you're always positive. And I applaud that, because it's hard to find someone, no matter what we go through in life, that looks at the brighter side and say, okay, this too shall pass.
Right.
And what can I do to make not only my situation, but the other person's situation better?
Yeah. What's interesting when we talk about energy, what I find is the more joyful and grateful I am, the more wonderful people knock on my window or knock on my door
Yeah.
or call me or text me.
Yeah.
Right. When I'm not there, chaos and not great situations show up. So yeah, we definitely have books. I like Joe Dispenza, Tony Robbins, Mel Robbins, Wayne Dyer's another favorite one of mine.
Absolutely.
He says two things I want to share with you. One's about ego, but when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. So take it in its literal form. If I look at the pen this way and then I look at it this way, well, maybe I don't want to look at pens anymore.
Yeah.
So when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. So when your perspective changes and you don't look at things the same way, then you don't even look at the same things,
Yeah.
because those things are no longer important to you, right? The other thing I like is ego. Dr. Wayne Dyer says ego is an acronym for edging God out, because we only have two wills. We have free will and primal will. Free will is what God gave us, and ego gets in the way. Primal will is when we're in flow with God, we're in flow with the universe, we're in flow with humanity. Everything comes easy, everything flows, we're connected. It's all love, light, contribution, collaboration, manifestation, visualization. There you go. I'm rolling today.
You're rolling.
But that felt good, right? But it comes from joy and gratitude. Everything starts there. What are one or two things that you're grateful for the first thing when you wake up in the morning?
First and foremost, I'm grateful for my wife.
Okay.
Without her giving me what she gives me, which is her heart and soul,
Mm-hmm.
it might be a little bit different, but
Oh,
that
yeah.
they say you have to have a purpose in life. And she is my purpose. It used to be my children.
Mm-hmm.
And don't get me wrong, they're still an integral part.
Yeah, but they're not that big a deal.
But they're gone. Right. I mean, they lose touch with you, right? They got their own lives to live.
Well, yeah.
But this woman has consistently rekindled things in me that make me want to be a better human being,
Well,
a
this is a
better
family
man.
show, Jim.
I know. A better, yeah, I
I'm
got you.
kidding.
I got you. No. We'll do that on the next show.
Yeah, yeah. Jim dives into rekindling and what that means.
OnlyFans. No.
Yes. There you go.
No, but
Hashtag Big Jim.
that's what I'm grateful for.
Right.
I'm grateful for her and the love she gives me. And I'm grateful for God giving me the opportunity to continually, as you say, manifest good to people.
Right.
That ego is, I don't, I have, I have confidence, but I'm not ego driven.
Okay.
And there's a huge difference. I feel confident in anything that I undertake, even if it's something I've never done, because I know it's going to be a process and there are going to be steps involved for me to get there. I can't go from A to Z if I'm trying to box.
Mm-hmm.
I've got to learn the fundamentals. I
Right.
can't go from A to Z if I'm going to get in an airplane and jump out of the airplane. If they don't tell me how to put the harness on, if they don't tell me how to pull, if they
Right.
don't tell me where my mind's got to be, then I'm going to be a splatter on the
Right.
ground somewhere.
Right.
So it's the same thing that God gives us and me every single day. He gives me the opportunity, first of all, to work on his behalf, because everything we do, and you hear it from pro players, and hopefully they're sincere about it, that I give my
Glory to
gratitude
God.
to God.
Right.
And that is first and foremost.
Sure.
If you don't have that, I hate to say it, but I think you're lost. I think you need to find a new direction. And again, that's those self talks that you have.
Right.
Just the fact, write it down. Write yourself a self talk down. Put it on paper
Right.
and read it every day so you internalize it, so that repetition is the mother of learning. So if you repeat it, repeat it, you're now changing your mindset. And when you change your mindset, as you said, you change the direction or the trajectory of where you're going, who you can help. And it doesn't have to be monetarily that you help anybody.
Mm-hmm.
It can just be a smile. It can just be a, hey, tell me what's going on. And listen when they talk, listen unconditionally.
Yeah.
People, we don't have a clue what people go through. Have
Right.
no idea. This person standing there, they may be scamming you when they're standing there looking for $1 or anything will help, but we don't know their actual situation. So if we don't know that, how can we judge them?
Right. And
You
another
may,
thing,
you
yeah,
may avoid them, but how do you judge them? You don't know their situation.
sure, sure. And to that
I could have
point,
been there. I
to
could have
that,
been there in '08.
right, right. And to that point, they say that millions of Americans are, a couple, three paychecks away from being homeless. But what I can say is, um, one of my favorite phrases that I've learned is, don't judge others because they sin differently than you. So, and I'll give you an analogy.
Yep.
You know, someone may be a drug user and some may be embezzling money from their company. The sins don't carry different weight. They're wrongs. They're wrong. And when you are doing wrong, you take yourself away from your power, your purpose,
Yep.
joy. I don't know how many grateful, joyful bank robbers there are, but you have to look over your shoulder. And that's why I joke sometimes about criminals and cops. The cops can be incorrect for years. Criminal only has to make one mistake.
Yeah.
So that's a lot of really good stuff. I'm also going to send you a link. Dr. Joe Dispenza has created something called Gaia, GAIA.com. So I'm going to send that to you,
Thank you.
because they do, like, I think it's a weekly live, and I think it's like $20 a month. And I just found out about it last night. So I definitely want to do that. And for those of you who don't know, Joe Dispenza is a neuroscientist and has studied the human condition for a long time, and talks about how you can open the third eye, how you can live beyond the three-dimensional world.
Your pineal
Um,
gland.
yeah. And some people, they don't realize what the work God did on us. We are the most amazing creations ever. And what we can do and how we can do it is pretty amazing. Um, now let's talk a couple more minutes on your philosophy, and then before we land the plane, I want to kind of dig into just some specifics on how we can get a hold of you and stuff like that if we want to do real estate. But
Can I say one thing before we
sure,
move on?
sure,
What you said about God, we're God's creation, and you talked about it. It came out a long time ago, but it's been re-emphasized. We, you, me, everyone in this world that was fortunate enough to be born, we are a 1 in 1 trillion miracle. Out of a trillion possibilities, he chose us to be the survivor, to grow, to be born, and to become who we're supposed to be, which is the most phenomenal person that God ever created.
mm-hmm.
Whether we reach that or attain that, it's up to us. He gave us the opportunity. And I didn't mean to, but I just
No,
want to interject the fact that people, everybody needs to understand how special they are, no matter where their circumstances are right now. You are 1 in 1 trillion miracle. Don't
right,
waste that.
right, and that's what I was talking about the mind
Yeah.
earlier, using it as a tool. Some people don't have the tools to get out of their mind.
Yeah.
And so that's one of the things I admire most about you is you live most of your life through your heart, not your mind. You think a lot, that's fine. But if you live from your center, you're always radiating out the good, right? If you get trapped in here and thoughts that don't serve you, you can't serve anyone else. It's like that analogy on the airplane. You've got to you've got to put your mask on first.
To help anybody else.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's one of the things that, you and I had a conversation the other day, and you're a great listener, and I'm becoming a better listener. But one thing that people often do is they're so focused on being heard, they don't understand or they don't listen. And you cannot learn anything while you're talking.
Well, we've all been there. Sometimes we talk too much.
Oh, I agree.
But you learn from it and you start again, you reverse the trend. And we've always been told you have one mouth and 2 ears for a reason.
Mm-hmm. And you talked earlier, about if someone wrongs you, you want to kill them with kindness or just try and turn the situation around. So it brings me up to I was watching something the other day. Dax Shepard is an actor. His
Mm-hmm.
wife is Kristen Bell, and they went into a nice restaurant, and he was just wearing a shirt, and one of the people at the other table was getting upset with the waiter. What's he wearing over there? What's that deal? He didn't recognize him as a celebrity, and he was just irritated,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so Dax goes to Kristen. What do I do? What do we do? And then Kristen leans in and said, buy his dinner.
Yep.
And as he walked out, knowing his dinner's been paid for, he had to walk by them. He's like, I'm sorry I wore the shirt. And that was it.
Yeah.
No confrontation, no battle.
Can't
And
argue with someone who won't argue.
exactly, exactly. And that's another thing too is you have to be you have to protect your energy enough
Mm-hmm.
to say, hey, you know what, this conversation isn't serving me, or oops, something came up, I've got to go.
Yeah.
Like I was talking to someone recently, he said a couple of things where it really hit me hard because that wasn't my intention. Like I said something and he said something, and I'm like, and so at the same time, I'm always sorting and sifting. We want to be in alignment with those people with whom we do business and do life. And I think that person may not be the one I want to, you know what I mean? So at the same time, maybe I overreacted. So now I'm looking at it from two perspectives. His intention wasn't bad. Maybe my perception was, right? So what I want to ask you again is, so you got God and your wife, cornerstones of your existence and the foundation. What are some life lessons or phrases or things that it's kind of easy for you to share with your peers in real estate or other people? Is there any habits that you have that you like, man, when I get a chance, I want to tell you, you got to check this out. You got to do this. Like beyond books or anything like that. Any life philosophy that's really made things clearer or easier for you.
Um, and it's that's sort of like to me hit and miss. It's sort of like if I hear something, and again, I try to live my life by just few simple things. And again, it's just one is just be kind. Be kind. And if you're kind, you're going to run into people. And the other thing is choose your circle. Definitely choose your
Can
circle.
you hold on a second?
Sure.
Sorry about that.
No, no problem. No
Yeah.
problem.
But anyway,
Yeah, it's
um,
again, being kind, your circle, your inner circle. I used to tell my son this. My son, and it's something that I learned right along the way, and it's bode well for him because he was captain of the football team. He was Mr. Homecoming, blah, 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 blah. Well, he struggled with his grades. I was a single parent at the time. He struggled with
mhm.
his grades. So I asked him one day, I said, and it's something that I'd heard. I said, how many friends do you think you're going to have when you leave high school? And he said, a lot. I'm like, I'm going to share something with you, and then we're going to discuss this after you get out of college. I said, I believe you will have no more than 5 people that are going to be in your inner circle. No matter what, no matter where they live, if something goes wrong, they are going to be there for you. So he goes through college, comes home, gets married, has his first child. And I had the conversation with him. I said, son, remember our conversation? He goes, which one? And I said, the one about your inner circle. How many true friends do you actually have? We all have acquaintances. We all have friends, but some of the analogies are some people are for a season, a reason, or a lifetime. Which ones are your lifetime? So he said, my wife, who was his high school sweetheart, they've been together since they were sophomores in high school. Russ, who's like a second son to me. And he said, you. And I said, well, wait a minute. I'm not part of your high school thing. He said, but you're my dad. And he said, I know you're always going to be there for me. He said, but as far as high school, I was always trying to please everybody because he's sort of like me. He likes to joke around. He's always got a smile on his face. I said, but how many of those people that you felt you had to make happy and have fun in high school, which you're supposed to do, but while they were studying, you weren't? They were gifted in regards to what they could do. They graduated 3.8, 4.0, went to the Naval Academy, went wherever. And I said, and you ended up having to go to a military academy for 1 year after graduation so you could get your football scholarship. How many do you have? He goes, so I got 2. And I said, exactly. I said, pick your circle. It's okay to make everybody happy. But when you disperse certain things to people, that you acknowledge things to people, make sure who you acknowledge those things to, because you don't need it going to John, Mary Beth, Sue, daughter girl down the street who's going to tell Bobby, Sue, Billy, John, whatever. When you share stuff that's intimate with people, make sure it stays in that circle and make the people that you are in your circle positive. You may have to let some people go in your life.
Well, see, that's the tough part for me.
Yeah.
The tough part for me is that I'm coming to the understanding that there are a number of people in my life that I can no longer have in my life. And at the same time, you know, I always do, you know, I always look in the mirror, you know, it's like, hey, you know, what can you contribute better? What can you do better? Um, and so before I would abandon any of those relationships, am I doing the best with my 50%? Whatever relationship it is,
Sure.
any relationship you're in, you're 100% responsible for your 50%,
Correct.
100%. So anyway, I knew this time was going to fly and no, like that, and it certainly has. So just to kind of recap, Jim, tell us a little bit about what broker you're working for, and what you're looking to add to the community, and what you're looking for from someone who might watch this.
I work with EXP Realty, and I mentor new agents that come into EXP Realty. I'm also looking to bring other people to EXP so that I can mentor them, so I can help them grow and achieve the goals they want to achieve.
Mm-hmm.
To do that, you have to be willing to go to the next level. We're all slaves to something.
Right,
And when we're slave to the company that we're with, because we don't think we can do better for ourselves, then we're putting up a roadblock.
right.
So I'm willing to talk to anybody, help them, no matter what uh, brokerage they're with.
Mm-hmm.
But I would love for them to come join us at EXP and grow their business and grow their wealth in different in venues that they can do. I I want to continue to help people in all walks of life.
Okay.
I want to make sure that the people who need our help, that are in financial difficulty or have some other things going on, that there's options.
Right.
Bankruptcy doesn't have to be one of them. Foreclosure
Mm-hmm.
doesn't have to be one of them. You may have to regroup. I told you, I said that I was almost that guy carrying that sign back in 08, 09.
Right.
I had a
Yeah.
very thriving company, and the market just went down the thing. And I kept my office open for another year and a half with nothing. But all of a sudden, you're going the same thing. You're like, oh God, I'm on paycheck to paycheck.
Right.
And now I'm like, well, if I don't get a paycheck somehow, then I'm going to be this person standing there, and nobody knows my situation.
Right.
Nobody knows you're going from the penthouse to the crap house, and they don't care. In all reality, the majority of people listen to the same radio station. It's WIFM. What's in it for me? If you can't give somebody something, they don't want to be bothered. I don't look at life that way.
Right.
I will help you any way I can,
Right.
and damn the torpedoes, damn the backlash. If there's something I can do, and if it's nothing more than just listen to you and just intake what you're telling me, I may not have the solution,
Mm-hmm.
but at least you didn't carry that baggage for the rest of the day, and it built up day after day after day after day.
Right.
You were able to get it released, and there was no condemning you for your thoughts. So that's what I hope that other people will embrace as they grow in their
Mm-hmm.
journeys in life, whether you're 18 or whether you're what? How old am I, Tom?
Um, I don't know,
Yeah,
six, 70,
You do know. I'm 73.
73. God
So
bless you.
it's like don't allow age or anything to get in the way of you leading your best life. Your
Right.
best life doesn't need to mean you have to have 3 million, a million, $80 million.
Right.
It means that you open your heart and be a friend. But to be a friend, you got to be a friend.
Right. Right. Absolutely. Well, my friend, I'm going to put, just so everyone, just so you know, I'm going to put the information in the description so you'll be able to get in touch with
Thank
Jim.
you.
if you want to touch base with them, about real estate investing. For those of you who don't know about EXP Realty, they have a profit sharing program that most real estate brokerages do not have
They
across the
also have a
country.
rev share.
So, I could definitely get you connected, with Jim about that if you're a licensed real estate agent, or if you'd like to become one. And I thank you all, definitely for tuning in. Hey, Jim, any parting comments before we turn off the record button?
No, other than I'm very grateful for you. Thank you for being my friend, and thank you for this opportunity. It's nice to be able to talk to people in a very relaxed way, and I just get your feelings out, And I truly appreciate you, Tom. Thank you so much.
Yeah, yeah, it was a wonderful time. And as I said from the very beginning, you've become one of my favorite human beings on earth. And I've met thousands of people, and I've been to 5 countries and 33 states. And you're definitely in my top 10. So
Thank you, sir.
really, really appreciate this time, brother. And I'll talk to you soon.
Be blessed.